Hey out there, welcome to the Kevin Strong Show. Yes, the Boeing strike continues. We're going to watch a video that talks about that. After the video, I've got some notes that kind of chronologically list how defined pension plans basically slowly went away over time. If you're new to the show, welcome. You know, last week I had on a white hat. This week I had to go brown. So calm down, my brown queen sisters. I am a DEI bachelor. Diversified, equity, inclusion. So if you're laughing right now, you know I'm going to ask for, hit that like button, leave a comment. First of all, let's slide over here to this video. I've got some interesting notes I want to share with you related to defined pension plans, and I'm going to talk about something that 95% of the average workers in America are not aware of, and if this applies to you, you need to take action immediately. I'll give you a heads up tip. It deals with covered and non-covered employees. And if you've never heard that term before, you want to stick to the end of the show so you can get the definition of those two terms, because it could mean the difference between whether or not you have a little bit more or a little bit less when you retire. So without further ado, let's go ahead and look at this clip. And then, as I promised, I'm going to share some notes that kind of chronologically lead up to where we're at with this Boeing strike.
Boeing machinists gave a thumbs down to a new contract that included a 35% pay hike over 4 years, as well as improved health and retirement benefits. The reason? Workers want the pension they surrendered a decade ago.
I would love to have my pension back. I really am, I'm bitter about it. We're all bitter about it.
I voted no, and I'm feeling like they're continually trying to give us the bare minimum.
But Boeing says a pension is too costly and is off the table. That follows a 40-year trend nationally of companies moving away from pension programs. In 1980, nearly half of company workers had access to a pension. Now only 15% do, while 67% have access to a 401k.
Pensions are generally better for employees, and pensions are generally worse for the companies. Putting a pension in place is actually a big, heavy lift for a company that has put one to bed.
We asked local union president John Holden about the pension impasse ahead of Wednesday's vote.
The auto workers said they wanted their pension back. Didn't happen. I don't know that I can point to a single union that's won a pension back.
Yeah, well, that's not because it's not justified. It is the direction society is going. It's not right. It's not okay. Some want that defined benefit pension, and I understand that fully. We haven't been able to achieve that, and I can't say that we will by staying out on strike.
There is no public time.
So you get the choppy, sorry about the choppy feed. So interesting. Like I said, it's about healthcare. It's about wages. 35% they're saying is not enough. I'm not here to push back on that, but as I've said on my Facebook page, as well as on various YouTube videos prior to this one, that I do not see Boeing capitulating to the point where they reinstate a defined pension plan, which basically means you get a guaranteed amount of money once you retire based on some formula for the rest of your life. It's my understanding, soft research says that the average pension after 20 years for Boeing is roughly about $1,900. If somebody wants to confirm or correct that, please put that down in the comment section, but I'm pretty sure that is the case. So what did the reporters say to the UAW president? That basically he hasn't seen a single union that has got their pension back. It's just not going to happen. That ship has sailed. That genie's out of the box. It's just not going to happen. Maybe they can come up with some kind of hybrid compromise where they increase their 401ks or give them a signing bonus on top of maybe giving them 40-45%. But to ask for a pension is their right from a union membership standpoint, but the likelihood of that being accepted by Boeing C-level, I just don't see it happen. So here's some of the show notes that I wanted to share with you chronologically that led up to this point from a pension standpoint. And as promised, I'm going to tell you the difference between the covered and non-covered employees. So stick by. So defined pension plans, they peaked during the 1970s. For those of you who are around, yours truly was. Obviously, I wasn't of working age, but I was definitely born in the 70s. corporations started to shift away from pensions during the early 80s. So I know my mom had a really good job in Euclid, Ohio, and it was a manufacturing job called Gould, and I think it changed to Imperial Cleveite. A lot of those manufacturing jobs on the eastern side of Cleveland, Ohio, Euclid, Ohio to be specific, they all packed up and went to Mexico for cheaper labor, for more favorable labor laws. Keep that in mind because we're going to readdress that labor law thing down the line. So by 2021, just 15% of workers had access to a defined pension plan. So as of today, I haven't done any numbers, but I would be pretty confident in saying well over 80, probably 85% of most working individuals do not have access to a defined pension plan, AKA a guaranteed amount of money for the rest of your life, kind of like the way Social Security is set up. Okay, so here is the point. In 2014, the union, right, capitulated, and the union believed that Boeing would move to states that were more favorable for labor laws. This was their rationale in 2014 when they gave up the pension. So what they decided to do in 2014, they said for all existing employees, you're going to continue to receive a defined pension plan. The new employees will not get that benefit. The union decided to do that once again in 2014 because they thought it was a high probability that if they did not give in to that, that union would have the Boeing would have picked up and moved basically out of the state or out of the country. So that was something that the union leadership decided to do to the rank and file. I think it's ironic in 2024, 10 years later, look at the mindset now. All the union workers are pushing back at Boeing executives, rightly or wrongly, but I don't hear anything through research or anything on a video holding the union leadership responsible for giving away the defined pension in 2014. Now, you might say, hey, Kevin, they were reasonably sure that Boeing was going to leave and they didn't have a choice. What's the reason for holding Boeing to the feet to the fire now? I would make a very cogent argument to you that you've got all-time corporate debt, you've got all-time consumer debt. Things are a lot more financially dicey now in 2024 than in 2014. Now is not the time to draw that hard line in the sand, in my opinion. So it's going to be interesting to see how this all falls out and settles out. I think at the end of the day, I think Boeing and the union rank and file will come to some agreement, but I do not think that agreement is going to include a defined pension plan. Okay, I already talked about that. So here's what I wanted to say. There's something called covered and non-covered. Now, for first responders, some of you who know me very well during the day, this will resonate with you. You may like it or you may not. You have covered and non-covered employees. What a covered employee is by employer is that when you are considered a covered employee, your employer is paying into Social Security wages. They're paying into the Social Security system. When you're a non-covered employee, your employer is not withholding Social Security tax. So yes, you are getting more money, but also it's incumbent upon you to do something wise with that money to secure your financial future. Because if you are working for an employer that is not taking out Social Security and you don't have any other credits outside of that work environment, you're probably not eligible for Social Security when you reach the age. You probably don't have a defined pension plan because, as I've said earlier, about 85, if not a higher percentage of employers do not offer a defined pension plan. So you're really in a precarious situation from a financial security standpoint if you're in a situation where you haven't taken advantage of that money that has not been taken out for Social Security to start investing and saving it. You don't have any outside work experience to qualify for Social Security. And then on top of that, your employer obviously doesn't contribute to Social Security, or you don't have a defined pension plan. On the other side, if you are covered, then they are taking out Social Security. And if you're fortunate enough to be in a situation where your employer has a defined pension plan, you're going to receive your pension and your Social Security benefits. Now, ironically, 46% of police and fire in the state of Washington fall under non-covered covered employees. So if that's you, you need to find out whether or not that's the case. And if so, it's incumbent upon you to make sure you're setting yourself up for financial prosperity in the future. So it's going to be interesting to see how this all shakes out. Things are going well for me on the stock side. I had to take a small loss, which is rare. It is rare. And as soon as I got out of the damn trade, it went right back up. So that's what's happening. So I hope you enjoyed this edition. If you have some input or an opinion about, are you for or against this pension thing? Do you think it's the right time for the union to hold their feet to the fire and demand this pension, regardless of the outcome? Leave a comment below. If you have not subscribed to the Kevin Strong Show, consider doing that by hitting the bell notification. Please leave a comment and don't forget to like the video if you enjoyed it. Keep your credit score up and your debt down. This was the Kevin Strong Show. Y'all come back now. You hear?